At this time, we'd like to start our meeting by saying Pule, and I'd like to call on Trustee Keli'i Akina.
Aloha kakahiaka and mahalo for coming, everyone. E pule kako, if you'd bow your heads, please, let us pray. Dear Lord, as we sang with the beautiful kumu and haumana yesterday, these sacred words, we invoke them again. Ho'onani ka makuamau, ke keki me ka uhane no, ke a kuamau ho'omai ka ipu ko ke a'au, ko ke la'au. How wonderful to contemplate your beauty in this wonderful place. And we ask for your blessing as we meet today as the Office of Hawaiian Affairs to do the work that will uplift your people, O Lord. Bring us together, give us wisdom. And thank you so much, mahalo, for all the hospitality we have been given by the people of the Aina here. And we pray that we will hear their hearts and their voices, and we will act accordingly. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Mahalo, Trustee. At this time, I'd like to call this morning's meeting to order. Let the record reflect that today is Friday, September 15, and it is 10:03 a.m. I'll ask the board secretary to call roll.
Trustee Ahuna. Trustee Akaka. Trustee Akina. Trustee Akina.
Aloha.
Trustee Alapa.
Present.
Trustee Galuteria. Trustee Souza is excused. Trustee Trask. Trustee Waihee. And Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Present.
8 trustees are present.
Mahalo, thank you. Aloha kako, everyone, and welcome to our Hawaii Island Board of Trustees meeting. We are very happy to be here with all of you. Our meeting today can be viewed and observed via live stream on OHA's website at www.oha.org/livestream. At this time, I would like to ask each trustee to introduce themselves and their staff, and I'll call on Trustee Ahuna.
Velina mai, aloha. My name is Dan Ahuna. I represent the islands of Kauai and Niihau. I want to personally thank our trustee from the Big Island, Trustee Mililani Trask, for hosting us, and also the Kanoa Ka'aina Charter School for having this beautiful meeting on this beautiful campus. Today with me is my trustee aide, Anuhea Diamond, back there. Mahalo.
Trustee Akaka.
Aloha pumehana and aloha kakahiaka. Aloha. My name is Kalia Kaka, and I'm honored to serve as your OHA Oahu trustee, as well as the chair of the Committee on Beneficiary and Advocacy and Empowerment at OHA. Joining me today is my kokua, my team member Nathan Takeuchi there, and my ohana, my husband Tyler, and our little baby Anna over there. Mahalo nui to the Kanoa Ka'aina for hosting us, and for our trustee Trask of our Hawaii Island trustee for hosting us as well. And mahalo nui to Kahelelani and all the administration and staff, chair and her crew who have made all these site visits and meetings possible, and all the many hands and the wonderful mele that you played this morning, Auntie, on the piano. Mahalo nui. But it's been such a wonderful trip so far, and we're so thankful to be able to be here with you all to hear the concerns and needs and some of the good things that OHA is doing that is working for our community here, our OHA Hawaii Island Ohana. So I want to mahalo you all for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure to be here in Nani Waimea. The rain, the cool weather, we'll miss it when we go back. So mahalo nui for having us. Aloha.
Trustee Trask.
Aloha. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mililani. I am the trustee for the Big Island. I live up in Ola'a on this island on the other side. Joining me today, my 2 staffers. I wanted very much to thank Ilima Kela and Kahelelani Keavekane. Everyone who has thanked me for what I've done with this meeting is incorrect. My two staffers have done all the work these last few months. Take a bow. Also, here with Kahelelani is her husband, DJ. They're the ko'okahu of the Hawaiian church that is here in Waimea. I also wanted to thank all the other trustees and staffers for coming all this distance for our neighbor islands. Only once a year are we allowed to come to the neighbor islands to get your mana'o. But I wanted to just thank the trustees for making the trip and let everybody in this room know that although we don't come more than once a year, we are here when you call. So if you have a need, kahea. And when you call for help to the trustee of the Big Island, always include the other 8 names, because things pass at the board only by a majority vote.
Thank you, Trustee Trask. Trustee Waihee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Aloha mai kako. I am John Waihee IV. I also want to really express my gratitude to Kanoka Aina for hosting us. And again, thank my colleague from Hawaii Island, Mililani Trask, and especially her 2 staff, who are the ones responsible from OHA for putting our part together here. My aide is Krena Kina. He's somewhere around here. But again, I really want to thank the people of Hawaii Island, especially Waimea, for all the love they've shown us and made this one of the best trips we've had in a while. So thank you again.
Trustee Alapa.
Aloha. Oh, that's so nice to hear. I just want to say, my name is Luana Alapa, and I am the trustee for the islands of Molokai and Lanai. Just a huge mahalo to everyone involved that has put on this meeting for us, along with the travels of the places we visited, and a huge mahalo again to Trustee Mililani Trask team. Thank you so much, Millie. You've outdone yourself, or your team has outdone yourself. I am going solo, so there's no one to introduce, so it's just me, myself, and I today. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Aloha mai kako. Just so wonderful to be with all of you today. And forgive me, Mililani, I'm going to thank you too. Mahalo for coordinating such a wonderful visit to the beautiful Moke'ave. And this is a very special place, and I can't tell you how impressed I am by Kanuoka Aina and the Haumana and all the kumu. You've done a wonderful job, and we're honored to be here with you. A couple of surprises for me here. First, how wonderful and delightful to meet some ohana from my ancestral line here on the Big Island last night in the Lupanui name. Just wonderful. And secondly, how amazing to be out on the field this morning during the protocol of the Haumana coming together and chanting. It was goosebumps all the way through as we looked in the distance at Haleakala. And I can't think of a better place to be raising our young people to become the next generation. I'm accompanied by Ruben Sierra, my aide, who's in the back over there. Mahalo to all of you for being here. I thank you for your care and concern for the people on the Big Island and the Native Hawaiian people throughout the state. Aloha.
Trustee Galuteria.
Aloha, kakahiaka kako, everybody. Aloha. Aloha. Well, so good to be here. These past several days have been so full for me personally. I know it's been full for every one of my colleagues up here. I'd like to introduce my classmate and aide, and the one who actually runs the joint in my office is Leanne Stender-Durant, right there. Leanne, thank you so much. The best thing about being the last guy in the introduction lineup is I can simply say each time, Madam Chair, will you please put the words of the previous speakers in the record as if they were my own? So please do that, and thank you. And I can't think of a better backdrop. This is where it's at. So aloha kako, and away we go.
Mahalo, Trustee. Aloha mai kako. I'm Trustee Hulu Lindsay, and I am the Maui trustee, serving as the board chair right now. I want to mahalo Kanu'oka'aina, Taffy, and her generosity, and all the po'o here for welcoming us and just creating an environment that is so maikai, so traditional, so Hawaiian. And I am so proud to see all of our children growing up in an environment like this and learning as they are. So it is so maikai, and I mahalo all the po'o from this school. Thank you for opening your doors to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, and we look forward to hearing those of you that have come to share your mana'o. With me on this trip is my staff. I have Kanani Iaya, one of my aides there, Amber Kalua, another aide, and the board secretary, Lehua Itokazu. We also have with us today our interim CEO, Colin Kippen. Colin, would you like to introduce our administrative staff supporting us here this morning?
Aloha mai kako. I'm Colin Kippen, and it's really good to be here. Almost 20 years ago, I was really actively involved in Native Hawaiian education. And we were talking about really creating Hawaiian education for our kids that was family-based, was culture-based, was language-based, because we knew it was a better way. And it literally is everything that has pretty much driven my life since I did that, because it's always about those things. It's about our language, it's about our culture, it's about our families, and it's about the land. So that's why we're here. That's what OHA does. That's what everybody who works at OHA does in some form or fashion. And what I'd like to now do is introduce Casey Brown, who's our Chief Operating Officer, and he can talk about some of the people who are here who do different parts of what I just said.
Mahalo. I don't have an anecdote. I'm the business guy. I'm going to get right down to business. So here from administration, supporting this meeting, we have our multimedia designer, Jason Lees, here up front. We have our IT manager, Tiger Lee, sitting right there behind. We have our communications director, Alice Silbanuz, right there. And we have our beneficiary service agents, really the folks that run the offices, all our regional offices. We have two of them here. One, our Hilo one came up here to support, and it's Ilima Kela from the Hilo office. There she is. And Dawn Tanimoto, who's out there up front. She's your office person for OHA's office here on the Kona side of the island. Okay, mahalo.
Mahalo. Pohana, I'll turn it over to you for an update.
Okay. All right, so it's back to me. So the mission of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs in 1978, when it was created, was to better conditions of Hawaiians. That was the mission. And when you think about that idea, what it's saying is that the conditions are not good enough, that they have to be bettered. And then you just sit here and you look past me and you look at these children here. And these are the best conditions right here. So when we talk about bettering conditions, we want things to get better, but we also have to hold on to the things that are already so good. And this is it. This is it right here. So I just want to say that. I also want to say that what we do at the office, probably better than anyone around, is we collect information about what our conditions are today. And it's important because we need to know how we can improve and where we need to improve and what we're doing that's making a difference. But the other thing is we always have to catch the things that we're already doing so well, because it's not just about, meeting deficits. It's about expanding the strengths and the things that we do really well. So I'm not going to go into the details of the information because there's a lot of it. If you want to find it, just go to our website. And we have literally a profile for each island. And as I look out in the audience, I know that some of the people here are people who build programs in our community to serve our community. And when I look at you, what I am trying to suggest is that when you are building those programs, please look at what we're doing so that you can use that as a platform to build upon as you build your programs. So I have two things that I would like to share with you this morning, and they're both in videos. The first thing is a video that basically explains just a little bit about what the Office of Hawaiian Affairs did with respect to the West Maui fires and what the Office of Hawaiian Affairs commitment is. So could we run that video now?
We're also happy to share of the unanimous vote by OHA's Board of Trustees to approve the distribution of $5 million in emergency disaster relief funds to kokua, our Hawaiian community, affected by these fires on Maui.
The Board of Trustees decided to appropriate $5 million.
We have 9 yes votes. Trustees, I'm so grateful for your vote of support. Our people are grateful.
The Board of Trustees has approved $5 million amount of money to be given towards the recovery efforts for the Maui relief efforts going on in Lahaina.
We have just appropriated, for starters, $5 million to deploy throughout the community in ways that we've yet to determine. But if we need to, we will increase that number.
And this is just the beginning of what OHA will be doing to help the Hawaiian people on Maui.
I would just like to very quickly give it back to Chair to talk about an experience she had about being in the right place at the right time when someone was handing out millions of dollars in aid for Native Hawaiians. Could you please, Chair, share with them?
Thank you very much. It was just my absolute privilege to meet a stranger after he was turned away by some governmental officials. In his presentation, he is the founder, Michael Camponi, is the founder and president of Global Empowerment Mission. His mission is to help in disaster areas where he can find or contribute to short-term housing when people are displaced. And he flew to Maui the day after the fires and was looking where he could find a person that would lead him to helping our people. Somehow he got my name, and I was able to meet with him. And we started right the next day. He didn't have any place to go, so I told him, hey, you can work out of the OHA office. So he said, let's do a pilot program. I said, I think that sounds great. So that night, I texted all the Hawaiian organizations, because of course he cannot discriminate, he has to help everybody. But I tried to get our people there first, and fortunately, we had 135 people show up, and we disbursed $1.5 million in housing vouchers in one day. Yeah, and he has since given almost $3 million for that kind of housing. He also had made available gift cards where people could use those gift cards for groceries. So it was such a blessing for him to come to Maui. Previously, he had been helping in Ukraine for actually more than 2 years. So to have him in Maui, we are very grateful. He tells me that he's there to stay for at least 2 years and perhaps help in the long-range rebuilding of homes. So yeah, that was a real plus for us, Colin.
Thank you, Chair. The second thing that I wanted to share with you is OHA's efforts to develop its land in Haku'one, which is Kaka'ako Makai in Honolulu. And we have a short video which just summarizes what we've done there.
The use of this 30,000 plus square foot warehouse for Maui relief efforts aligns with OHA's plan that improves the quality of life for Native Hawaiians and our local community.
There's a coordinated effort with MOCA, with OHA, with CNHA, with different freight companies, with different shipping companies. These are the goods you see behind me that are going to be going out to Maui.
We have been struggling to find a space as large as this to take in all the aloha, to take in all the generosity. And now what you are seeing here in this 35,000 square foot space is an area to sort, area to organize, area to inventory, to make sure that the goods are given to the people of Maui in an orderly way.
We're all shocked and saddened and stunned, and it's like aloha to the 10th power right now. We've just partnered with some good friends, CNHA and MOCA, to allow the housing of the much-needed donations for the island of Maui.
We at OHA are honored to collaborate with Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke and the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement to provide this space during this time of crisis.
This is a perfect space. You know, the fact that OHA and CNHA came together to utilize this space, it's just so amazing. This is what Aloha is all about. This is what people of Hawaii does. And, you know, I can't just thank enough of so many people who are here. They came out of the woodworks just volunteering. We're gonna need a lot more support. I'm just so grateful for the OHA trustees and CNHA for acting so quickly to take care of the needs of Maui.
I want to thank you. That concludes my report, Chair.
Mahalo nui. Thank you very much. We'll move on to item 4 on our agenda, community presentations. And I'd like to call on Iopa Mauna Kea and Rick Parrish from Kumukahi Legacy Lands.
I can speak loud.
Oh,
the camera.
Yeah.
Camera. So we can keep you. Oh, my goodness. No can see you though. No, I get him.
And I'm going to let him do all the talking. As I usually do.
Okay. Please. Oh. Aloha kako. Aloha kakayaka. And this thing is too loud. Like I said, I can speak loud. Thank you for this opportunity. And as I look outside, there's our future. And it's really, really good to see it. It brings hope. Aloha kako, everybody. Good morning. Okay, let's go. Okay. It's good to be here. I'll just say my name then. My name is Iopa Kaluna o Keali'i Ho'omanawa Nui. Kamakawahine Mauna Kea, Auna Ke Aloha. And I share my long name because I'm attaching myself to our Wahipana, which is Kumukahi and again Waipio Valley, which both my families come from, my dad's side and my mom's side. Local boy, born and raised, Nanakuli, and I moved here in 1988 or 1990, and never did leave this rock after that. And every time when I leave Moku Keawe, I have this sense of always longing to return. So this place can do it to you. So I'm feeling what you're feeling right now. I got that on. I brought 2 just in case. Or they can play the one that I would send them to. Play the original one. I can wing them from there. Uh-oh. That's some Puna stuff going on right now. Interestingly enough, it's one privilege and one honor to be here and to be sharing in front of the whole board. I think only Keone is not here, I think, yeah? Souza, eh? Mr. Souza, yeah? So I'm going to call him up and tell him, brother, where you at, man? Let me see. My family, let me talk a little bit about my family. What are you going on? My grandmother, Kupuna Catherine Kamala Kukui Mauna Kea. Very, very active in our community. I feel that, personally, I feel that where our culture and our language is today is part of her work. My sister Kukui Mauna Kea, who has Ma'o Youth Organic Farms at the moment, they're thriving and they're making impact in Waianae Valley, and they're growing food. So some of the highlights, one other highlight in my family, my nephew Keola, Alika Keola Okalani Mauna Kea, Dr. Alika Mauna Kea, he is doing some extraordinary work with our health and wellness side. So some of the stuff I just wanted to share a little bit about my ohana. My dad's side, Auna Kealoha, is from Waipio Valley, taro farmers all his life, pretty much ran away from Waipio Valley at some point because the grass was greener outside the valley. But little did we know, the grass is still green in the valley. Yeah. Shucks. Now I'm running out of things to say now. So I get this period of like long time for talk stories. So how you guys doing? All of our, how was your stay over here? Good? This place treating you with aloha and love? Yeah. Speaking to several of you this morning, I felt that from you folks. So welcome to Moku Keawe, and again, mahalo to Kanu Kaina, public charter schools. And part of the founding members over here was Auntie Kuka Hakalau and Uncle Nale guys. And fortunately, tomorrow I go work with them down in their valley on their lo'i, and we go help them. We go cook them and go grow some more kalo with them. So. Come on, Jason, what's the matter, brother? You broken on, man?
Iopa.
Yes.
Trustee Trask has a few words.
Yes. You know, Iopa, I had wanted to ask you if you could just say a little bit about the Men of Pa'a, because you are one of the Hawaiian nonprofits that has been the longest on our island. And also, the Men of Pa'a recently had a relationship with Waimea schools to take care and malama some of the other properties down in that area.
Mm-hmm. So on my presentation, I have that information, but I can share a little bit about them. So
you can go if you're ready.
What are they?
No, our technician's not ready.
Yeah. But so yeah, I'll share a little bit. You know, it is about collaboration, and it is about partnerships. And so what I do with the Men of Pa'a is I bring men in from the justice system, the streets, who's afflicted by drugs and alcohol abuse. I house them in our clean and sober houses, and then I reintegrate them back into our community through what I call our ho'okanaka process, which is a culturally rooted and communally relevant process of personal change catalyzed by servant leadership. And what that means is the brother gotta wanna change his ways, and he gotta do them for him first. And then we go out in our community and we do service. And in my video, you're gonna see all of that in my presentation. And so over the years, we develop, through service, we develop collaborations and partnerships. I mean, I partner and collaborate with everybody and anybody I can, whoever's gonna listen to me. But one thing's for sure, is we've learned how to leave the space and leave whoever we work with better than they came, better than we came. So every space, we're learning how to leave the space better than we came. And what that does, it allows us to be humble. It allows us to be responsible men again, men. It holds us accountable. It brings unity, and it's a commitment, and it's a discipline of a way of life. Living clean and sober, and then giving away what we have to our community unconditionally. There's only 2 times when we're going to give away and be of service to our community, is when we like and when we don't like, right? And so those 2 times is when we serve our community. So building trust, building collaboration and partnerships. Recently partnered with Kamehameha Schools to steward land, place called the bigger picture, the bigger Ahupua'a is Kahuvai, and part of it is Kalaimanu, which is a piece of land with a road that the community uses to access the land. But what's happening is that everybody leave rubbish behind, they overfish the place, and so Kamehameha came up with this idea of allowing us to steward the place, and so we got on board and we were learning how to steward that place. So I saw it on there when you guys ready. So our relationship, obviously, with them is cutting through a lot of bureaucracy. You know, with Kamehameha Schools, man, there's a lot of bureaucracy we have to go through. So we have to really learn how to navigate that, the bureaucracies and stuff like that. And that's where my organizational capacity comes in. So I'll share with it. So we are a 501c nonprofit organization. I built this from the bottom up. I started from the bottom of all bottoms. Next, please. Next. Oh, press the button, eh? The bottom one. Yeah. Oh, the thing worked. Check that out. Currently, this is the men that's in my house and around me right now. We get from 15 to 25 to 30 men all the time. See, that's why I gotta go over there.
Take the microphone with you.
There's a solution. Yeah. So, again, our mission is to empower and enable Kanaka Ma'ole, particularly Native Hawaiian men who seek recovery, restoration, and reconciliation with themselves, their ohana, and then their community. In that order, there's a reason why. The brother gotta get well with himself first before he can take care of his family. His family gets better. Guess who benefits from that is our community because of the services that we're providing. I'm sharing this for those of you who never see this presentation yet. For some of you who've seen this presentation, just bear with me a little. And I get to go do the next again. Next. Boom. Our Ho'okanaka process is basically being culturally rooted, communally relevant. We're practicing culture, and we communally, in our community, we updated, we involved in our community. We are very, very in tune to our community. It is a process of personal change catalyzed by servant leadership, our services that we provide. This is driving our AINA-based recovery, AINA-based stewardship programs, which I named, which is achieving our 3 R's in recovery, restoration, and reconciliation, engaging our mantra of people helping people helping people. That's the intent, mantra-wise. When we help organizations, they help other people. We become people who's helping those people, helping the people, our people. Recovery, the kind of personal health, well-being, and the practice of spiritual principles. Olis, chanting, hula, that kind practice. Being restored to sanity, being in our right minds, practicing these spiritual principles, engaging these spiritual principles, honesty, love, all of those principles. Making right to self first, gotta heal the self first with what I do, and then our ohana, and then of course the community is believing and trusting our work, because now we stay working with Ladies Night Out with Hui Malama Olana Oivi, and we stay doing hand and foot massages, right? And our line, the longest line over there. Get all other services, but our line, the longest line. That's an old joke I show all the time, and you guys still laugh. Yeah, awesome. a small video of who we are and what we're doing. I will show you some of our cultural pieces, and I will show you some of our updates. So now that COVID was lifted, we're back in our communities doing our community service. So how do you play that? Uncle, how you play that? I pressed the wrong button. Oh, it's playing, but there we go. Couple minutes.
Sunday morning, 6 o'clock, Sunday, here in Whiteview Valley, now Whiteview Valley. Mara is joined, Paulo is happy. Lori is clean. Alright, so coming from the whole way, I'm now down to the property line of Otolia and Tikulia Days. So this is where the Y divides into Otolia space to the right, and then to the left, and to the right goes down to us. So this is what you see. You see the water flowing like this. At times we got even heavier when we got the whole line even higher right now. Alright, good morning everybody. So kind of working backwards today. I came all the way up to the pole by, inspect the pole by, and from last month, once in a couple of days, once in a week maybe, we came up here and the kids would help us. They're following our video. Our pole by. Alright, here we are with TV Kupuna down here in Nahoku, Waikio Valley. The Molelo behind this TV Kupuna was that this TV was on the mainland some years at the National Institute of Health. It was brought home by the County Burial Council, and they decided to put it here in
So I believe I came today before you to qualify myself in why I feel that we are able to steward Aina. So this one, I think Alice Damon produced this video right here talking about kumukahi and why we need to steward and malama kumukahi. And fortunate for me, I have my cousins in the room too that I get to share this with too. This is Waimea in every way that you can possibly think of. People don't want an idea of taking care of the Aina, Malamara Aina, because life is too fast, I guess. The idea is always to leave this place better than we came. Here we are at Kumukai Haehae, the place of our beginning, the furthest eastern part of Hawaii. This is where it all begins for us, the source. There's so much stories to tell about this place. There is intent and purpose behind everything that's done here. This is Waipara, and it needs to be preserved. Whole area right here is Ibikupuna and burial caves, and also too at some point this is all living villages at one point too. So this area is all of where Kupuna lies and resides. All of our families' graves there, our families, everybody else's families. That is why we need to protect it, because when people come in here, they don't know it. So we gotta figure out how to protect it so that people don't go in and desecrate our Kupuna. Our local people need some education to make sure that we are taking care of this place. You know, I'm walking in with rubbish bags right now, and everybody should be doing that. I'm walking in with rubbish bags, and on the way out, I'm gonna pick up the rubbish, whatever I see on the side, because people leaving rubbish all the time. And we clean this place many times. I mean, from the road to the ocean. We took out tons of rubbish on it. You're gonna see in the pictures. For tourists are coming, shucks, our tourists should be doing this too. They're calling it regenerative tourism. The biggest issues that we're having is understanding what needs to be done. Once we find a way to find solutions to our issues that we have here, we stick with it, we engage it, and then we fix it if need be. We need to make sure that we, the ones, are taking care of that and malama this aina, so that for many, many more generations down the line, we can come and experience this. So we need to malama kumukahi. Malama kumukahi is what we need to do. Mahalo, Alice. Thank you so much. Yes, and Jason. Yeah. So in closing, I just going to kind of run down some of the qualifications, I guess, so that you understand who I am, what we do, how we go about doing them, and what we can do. Okay. So organizational capacity. You know, building organization is not easy. You're talking about board of directors, you're talking about board of directors insurance, you're talking about regular liability insurances, you're talking about all of these kind of stuff. And you know, like, for a Kanaka like me, I went walk through all of these things, so I kind of get one understanding, and it's not easy. Inside here, we get administration capacity, right? Staffing. Oh, by the way, I'd like to introduce my staff, since I get staff well. My administrative director, Rick, and then one of our members, James. Or Kimo. So when administrative staffing, and then of course like third-party human services, third-party accounting formats, you know, incorporating AI into the picture too, ChatGPT too. We grab onto that, any kind of format, we grab onto them and we just try work them. We work them until the thing work for us, and that's the deal. We make them work for us. Program capacity. Once I went organized and once I became sustainable, boom, my program would just rise too. Every weekend, we're in our community doing something for our community. Every weekend, every Saturdays. Sometimes even in the weekdays too, we're doing that too. This is important, the collaborations. You know, so collaborating with Kamehameha schools, collaborating with Malama Opuna, there's an opportunity to steward more land with them, right? My collaboration with the vacation land estates, where our partnerships come into play with the County of Hawaii now stewarding X amount of funding so that we can rebuild the subdivision roads that was wiped out by the lava and everything. You know, those kinds of collaborations. Not only that, but land ownership too, like our 2 parcels in the Waimea area that my wife and I lost, you know. Now we got to figure out, you know, what we like do with them as we come back, you know, to the space. Not only that, but then even our aina in Puala'a, right down the road between Kapoho Kumukahi and Po'iki, you know, my grandmother and her foundation that my sister and I steward, we own land over there. What's happening now is that the county going to come through, they're going to build their road too. So it's about partnerships and collaborations again. And then in the land ownership pieces, one day, I tell you, one day I'm going to be, my cousin will point this out to me, one day I'm going to be sitting on our aina watching the county work, watch them do their guys' deal over there, and someday we're going to be able to pass them on to our ohana. So with that, if there's any Q&A time that I can have right now, if there is questions, we can talk story that way. If not, thank you for having me.
You know, colleagues, that was a great presentation. Iopa, thank you so much. But I wanted to add a few things for the board. About 4 years ago, OHA had sent a letter of concern to the University of Hawaii. This parcel of land is currently under the University of Hawaii. It was federal surplus property. When it was declared surplus, it should have been returned to the state under the state process. The university intervened and instead requested the feds avoid that law and turn the land over to the university so that they could utilize it to further astronomy, because this is the site. Kumukahi is the aurora of the Hawaiian peoples. From time immemorial, there is only one place for all of our people, for all of our islands, for the entire of the Pacific that is Polynesian. It is Kumukahi. It is the place where the first rays of the sun touch the earth when it rises every day, the easternmost point of Hawaii Island. And so it's very sacred to our people, but it's not had a caretaker all this time. And I wanted to point out that when the complaint had come by letter to OHA, OHA did send a letter, Kai Markel, to the university, complaining and pointing out that they had an obligation. It triggered, OHA triggered the beginning of the burial treatment implementation. Today, the burial treatment plan is completed and has been adopted. The men of Pa'a, for the last few years, put together a program, organized themselves, went to Kumukahi. All the trash you saw there is a thing of the past. They went down and pulled out every rusted out truck, every car. They pulled it out themselves. And they took it to the road. They already have a contractual agreement with the county. They call the county comes to clean up. They cleaned it up. I have another video, but I just didn't want to show you. All the broken beer bottles smashed. All the toilet paper. It's not from animals. You can go down and see the tourists going. When Native Americans came home a year and a half ago with Hawaiians to see and to worship, it was IOPA they called. And they went and moved the boulders that IOPA had put in to prevent the motorcycle riders from coming at night. Been trying to do this for years. But we only made progress when the two Hawaiian boys from Pahoa went on the motorcycles. The vibration caused the landslide. The older brother died on impact. The younger brother permanently injured. We don't have that problem because the men of Pa'a came, because the youth won't listen and they want to ride by night. But they will not go with their bikes now to places that will take their life. Trustees, I recommend, and I will be now referring this matter for due diligence inquiry to the administration. I think there is not a better example of a community nonprofit that has worked with our people. And I also want to mention what IOPA did not, because when our boys and brothers and husbands come out from drug incarceration, they go into this program. This program has the highest rate of success in the state of Hawaii. They may have a few, but those who go through don't go back to drugs, and they don't go back to domestic violence or prison. So I'm so happy to refer this to you, and I want to thank OHA for helping us this far, because you know you did support them a while ago, many years ago, but they have not come back for financing. In the meantime, others are working with them. Thank you for supporting this project, trustees.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, IOPA, Rick.
Nice to see you.
Kimo. Okay, next we have Kailapa Community Association with Jojo Tanimoto. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this item?
No one is signed up to speak on this item.
Mahalo. All yours, Jojo.
Aloha kakahiaka, everybody. Yeah. Good morning again. It was so wonderful to have you folks visit us in our community yesterday. And let me tell you, our community watched all of you, and you were very attentive to what they had to say. Our agenda yesterday was to talk about our playground shade. But as you know, they wanted to make sure that you hear the concerns of the community. Water and fire. Because of the Lahaina fires, it became apparent to everybody that we have to be fire wise, and we need an evacuation out of the subdivision. We need 2. I'd like to report that this morning I got a text from Hawaiian Homes. They are listening because Kailapa sent a text to Hawaiian Homes, and they're asking, what are you guys going to do? The text back says, we are going to have a community beneficiary consultation. Yes, OHA. Thank you. Okay. So they are going to be looking at it. So for the water, I had a question from Trustee Kino. He wanted to know where we had our meeting to the water that we were talking about. So I am sending you, all of you, a picture of Kailapa to show you it's about as far from here to the buffer over there. And it has not reached us for 37 years. So because of our meeting and when everybody was talking to Hawaiian homelands, the thing is now we're going to have them talk back with us and see what they can do. But they don't have money. We were not even considered in their $600 million plan. So we still stuck for money. And the strategy is to look for help. So we'll be coming to you guys, okay? The second one is for the evacuation road. We need the infrastructure to go from Kailapa, where we were, up to Kohala Mountain. That way, we will have evacuation. Number two, we can bring water into that whole area. We got the water, we can fight fire. Because there's nobody above our subdivision. Nobody's watching the fire. And we always have fire. So that is very troubling to us. So, since the community made my presentation for me yesterday, I'm here to reinforce what they had to say. But I was reading your brochure, and I want to thank you for two things. I noticed in that guy's presentation, he always said this or this. He never said that. Yeah? Every time in other communities where they say they need help, they always go, please. Yeah? But this group, they did what they say they do. They do the job. They ask for the help, but they do the job. And I noticed that in all of this whole presentation, and I hope you guys did too. Number two, we have Punana Leo School right down the street, next to the Hawaiian Homes office. We, in Kailapa, would like to say we succeeded in asking Hawaiian Homes not to charge Punana Leo or Waimea a rent. That's the group that went to the legislature to convince them to recognize two languages. And you know how much money and time and people they got involved with that. And they want to charge this poor school that need their funds for the students. Number two, we succeeded in asking Hawaiian Homes to go look for a campus bigger than what they have. This would be perfect for another Hawaiian school. And so the community is asking Hawaiian Homes. And they actually sound like, okay, nobody said so. How come nobody told us? So twice we have succeeded for that school. Because the next meeting at Hawaiian Homes Commission, they're looking for the other Punana Leo schools. What's funny about that to us is they charge the Punana Leo school monthly rate to rent their lease, okay? You have other Hawaiian schools, this one, they don't pay zero. They have the Kamehameha schools, one in Hilo, one over here, zero. Punana Leo, $900 a month. They can hire new people. They can get more supplies. They can get more students into the schools. So I'd like to say for Kailapa, we succeeded twice, okay? And now, because of you guys, they're gonna look into helping us in Kailapa. And I wanna thank you very much. It's been a great day. I see a future so bright. I gotta wear shades.
Thank you, Jojo. Our third presenter is Ui Evans, who will report on Change Makers Hawaii.
Colleagues, the Change Makers is working in partnership with our two kupuna, Terry and Dane Shibuya from South Point. They are not going to be coming in today because of the drive was long, and also Uncle needs oxygen machine. So they had called earlier and told me that Ui would come to present for both of them, but they are watching on the TV.
She said she wished she could talk on top of the TV, but she knows she couldn't. But anyway, hello everybody. My name is Uilani Evans. I reside in Kilkaha. I've worked for a nonprofit previously before I ended up at Changemakers, and this place had opened me up a lot more since I get to work in the community now. So, with that being said, for Changemakers of Hawaii, we have a, this is really new for me. We serve the Hawaiian community organizations. We are doing some fundraising courses. Our mission is to end poverty in unserved communities. So we do a lot of work with our Native Hawaiian organizations. For example, Hana Laulima is one of our biggest organizations we are trying to find funding for, because they want to build their community building for their for Ka'u. So right now they need $5 million to get their organization up and going. At this moment, we have about $350,000 that we had gotten for them. So we're not moving fast enough, but we're gonna get it for sure. Another organization that we are targeting at the moment is Maku'u Farmers Market. They also have a building that they want to, get out there for their farmers market along with their the communities. Hana Laulima, for an example. Sorry, I'm going back and forth, but Hana Laulima has so many programs, a lot of for their kupuna and for their children that they're trying to make in one area so that they don't have to be in all these other areas in the community center, at home, at the school. They're all split up right now. So we're trying to just make sure that we have one place for them to all be safe at. So we did get that location. We did get the plans. Now it's just to get the funding for them to build and to grow. So for myself, working with Hana Laulima, we do, again, a fundraising course. So we do a Boston University course, which I graduated. I got my certificate in. It's a 12-week free course for Native Hawaiians and their organizations. We pay for their tuition. One student is $2,800. Okay? So we usually get 3 every year. Every fall, summer, and spring. Okay? And in that, again, for my dedication to me, I need 90 hours of community service. And in that community service, you're helping me find funding for this organization like I'm doing right now. So that was my goal. My goal was to graduate, was to do 90 hours of finding donors, of finding, like I said, finding funding, writing grants, and just going out in the community and seeing if other communities are willing to help me build other people's organization. So that's really what I'm here for. I'm here for our people in Ka'u, like Auntie Terry and Uncle Dane, and trying to make a way for them to build in their community, because they're so small and we're all here. We're all Native Hawaiians. We all want to be here for each other and build that for them. I have a lot more programs that we do. We do give out free grant writing courses with my organization as well. There's no, you give me feedback, no 90 hours of community service. You just take the course, and then then you go and at the ending you complete your own grant for your own organization or for yourself. So we have so much things that we do there. We are partnered up with Blueprint for Change, which is also a program that we try to bring people incarcerated to do a hydroponics agriculture program. We had partnered up with Maku'u Farmers Market. Right now we're building greenhouses. We're building a 100-footer greenhouse there at Maku'u so that we can have other people come in to learn about agriculture. And maybe they can go home and build for their families, because that's our problem right now. No more sustainability, no more foods. Foods are expensive for our tutus. But yeah, thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, great job. You know, colleagues, I had just wanted to add that with change makers on our island and some of this work that we're doing, we're really looking forward in the future to putting together some kind of a framework, collaborative agreement, so that we can have something in writing that we can show to facilitate the community in their grant-raising efforts. But what UI is doing now and working with their project is actually facilitating that process by doing the grant writing training for free. There's a lot of folks in our community, some nonprofit and some are for-profit, but the thing is that everyone looks for funding, and there's not really been a good grant writing course. They're usually about $2,500 per person. But here we have this, and it is being paid for, but it's being paid for by change makers. So I just wanted to say that here, because if there's people in the community, you know, here's a good resource for you. And I'm so thankful to have her come in, because what we're looking at in Ka'u, something we talked about for 30 years, put the imu in, put some structures for our students and our children and families at Ka'u. We couldn't do it because the population is small, the cost is big, but what UI didn't tell you is that Terry and Dane already have the land. They have a right of entry, legal, in writing, to allow them to come in. And now we're looking at what we can do to raise the funds. I told them millions is a little steep, but we already met with some contractors. We know we can't hire them, but we met with them to ask them, what can we do for little money that will stand up for many years to the weather and the wind at Ka'u? There, 10 minutes, they told us, forget about the HPM and all those houses, forget it. Too much money, you don't need it. You know what you need? Containers. Mats and shipping containers. Get 2 or 3 of those, they'll stand up for 30 years. You can convert it into a kitchen, into a tool place storage, into a sleeping area for the children. And no matter how big the winds come, it's not gonna blow away. So we're moving forward, and I'm so thankful for the help of change makers. You know, it's hard on the neighbor island with just small staff, 1 trustee, but with change makers, I think we're gonna do this one. And I think, colleagues, we should all watch it, because they're a very viable partner for us in the future. Good job, Uwe.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, do we have anyone signed up for community concerns?
Yes, we do. Our first speaker is Kauilani Almeida.
Okay. I just want to say aloha, kakahiaka kako apau. My name is Kauilani Almeida. I'm back. I've been kind of gone a while. The last time I actually was involved in my community on a big level was back in 1995. Our community is the Pane'ewa Hawaiian Homelands Community Association, which I became the president in 2018 elections. And in 2021, I again got to be the president. So I stand here today to just let you know where we are. I know that it's a 5 minutes. So I want to tell you what is the most important thing right now. Right now in Pane'ewa, we have an ongoing project called Kamoleao, which is started to be in 1995 a health and wellness center, because we don't have one like the comprehensive center in Waianae and other places. We are a homestead association, which means that we are under the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act status lands. Why I bring that up is because I had to study the act to know how to proceed with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. Why that's important is because within the last year, something extraordinary happened on the Department of Interior level. We questioned the Act 499, which was the extension of public lands in the state of Hawaii, of which I found out at that time that because the governor didn't sign it, it automatically became law. Okay, what that happened was that the Prince Kuhio Plaza came forward and wanted an extension to in between their lease. And the Department of Interior said, no, not on Hawaiian homelands. Hawaiian homelands cannot be treated the same as public lands of DLNR, of the state of Hawaii. So what that meant was that they were coming in to request an extension for 40 years. Why I bring that up today is because for the past, I would say, all my life, I want to see what you see out there, except with kupuna. I have learned all my life what I would interpret of not quality, not high quality care for kupuna, but kupayanaha. Families that have taken care of their kupuna, cared for them, kupayanaha. And for those of you that do not understand what kupayanaha is, it's extraordinary. Extraordinary. Because what I found for the past years of my life is that kupuna's role in the family has changed. They no longer want to be home taking care of their mo'opunas. Yeah? They want to have a life until they have to, go into the process of independent care, assisted living care, chronic care, dementia, all of these things. And so when I looked at our community, I said, you know what? I'm going to study what it is about this mall, that why it's not, Prince Kuhio Mall is not being what it's supposed to be. And then I found out that across the nation, a lot of the malls are closing down because they have no purpose anymore. Online shopping, I'm sorry, is the way to go, and we're all in this right now with that. So therefore, I want to repurpose Prince Kuhio Plaza. I want to repurpose it to bring senior or kupuna services, multi-services to the mall. I want to go up. I want to go up and be able to provide these systems for kupuna. For kupuna. Like I said, independent, assisted living, dementia. Why? Because, like the other person said, right now, the way it exists, they gotta go all over the place. I'm sorry, but I really wish that you would consider, when I do the repurposing of this lease, because that's what I'm asking the HHL for, is to release Brookfield from the property because they have 12 years left. And what is happening is Sears left, their anchor tenant left. So we want to do phase 1, kupuna housing, but not the way that everybody has been doing their kupuna center. We want to have the multi-services also engaged at the Prince Huio Plaza. We probably will change the name. All I'm saying is that for us right now, I lost my parents, my father in 2020 during COVID, but not because of COVID, but because he was 92 years old. And our family took care of him. My mother passed away 6 months later in 2021. And we took care of her as well. And then I realized that makes me the next person coming up in the ranks of kupuna. And then I started to look at my community. Do you know that 85% of the lessees in our community are kupuna, 62 and up? And so then I looked at my children, who are now 40, and then, okay, 30 years from now, when they're gonna be supposedly kupuna, because I'm gonna live that long. And so it's like this big gap. And then I started watching the world. And you know what? It's a world thing. A lot of the kupunas are living longer, and there's this space that is being filled by kupuna. And a lot of the problems that I'm researching and stuff is a world problem. Healthcare, insurance, the ownership of the hales. All of these things are playing a vital role in where their healthcare, their living, everything. And so I'm going, okay, so what do we have now as services, multi-services? Well, when I'm dreaming, because that's my thing, okay? This school, not here because of any other reason that somebody dreamed it. And I don't want to take that away from our children, yeah? We want them to be dreaming and being able to make it happen and complete the action. Usually we don't complete. So I want to let you know that right now I'm in the research development area for the last, I would say, 6 years. I'm at the point where I've established myself amongst a group of individual kupunas and their children, and they're not all Hawaiians. They're Filipino. My thing will be for Native Hawaiians. But what I'm saying is the teamwork has to be where we're all communicating because we're suffering from the same thing. We're an island. We have to live with each other, and we have to take care of each other. And the same things that we experienced in COVID is the same thing that's being brought to the table. The kupunas that were home because their children had to go work. When they finally released the COVID, children had to go back work. Kupunas was at home by themselves. How do I know? I helped deliver the food to the kupuna. So all I'm saying is that I want to focus in now on developing a partnership, a teamwork of people that is concentrating on kupuna. And I would like to see one day, maybe sooner than later, that this meeting will be held at the new repurposed Prince Kuhio Plaza, but the background will be with kupuna. So
Thank you, Kailani. Like to call on Benny Medina. I know.
I just saw my classmate over here. Thank you. So My real name is actually Benson, but if anybody calls me Benny, that means I either went to school with them or grew up with them in Kailua. So I appreciate that tone of familiarity. So I'm here to just say a few things. I'm actually the president, I mean, hard to believe, of the Native Hawaiian Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank Trustee Galutaria, who's been sort of collecting us together, meeting monthly to talk about concerns of the Native Hawaiian Chambers. Now, the Native Hawaiian Chambers is kind of an interesting, eclectic group of people because the Oahu Native Hawaiian Chamber is really different than the Kauai guys and the Maui guys and the Hawaii Island guys, okay? So Hawaii Island Native Hawaiian Chamber, we started actually back about maybe 30 years ago. And what happened is that they had a lot of steam, kind of got things together, people were super active. But then what happened, it really became a Kona side, Hilo side, right? And it was really difficult to try to get stuff going when you got half of your group on Kona and half of your group in Hilo. People got busy, and then over time, their leadership kind of fizzled out, or they didn't have a succession plan for leadership. So it went dormant. And then back in 2017, right, Richard Ha, which a lot of you guys know, decided we gotta like rev this thing back up. So he made some phone calls, and luckily I was on that list of people he called. He said, hey, we gotta get this thing back on its feet and get it going, because there is a need out there for somebody to help small businesses. And on Hawaii Island, when you talk about small business, because if you go to Oahu and you talk about a small business, you know, it's usually 8 people or under small business. Okay, small business on Hawaii Island is like one guy half-time, right? And so in our chamber, we got about 80 members now. We're actually having our membership luncheon October 12th, which you're gonna all get a flyer on. We got about 80 members, and I would say, you know, we got some of the big guys all in there, Waimea and, you know, the supermarket chains. But I would say half of the people that we have are people. Oh, there's my other classmate, Betty, right there. Hi, Betty. Wow, this is kind of cool. You come Waimea and you get to see your classmates. I was teasing Leanne over here because, you know, we were just thinking, like I've known all these guys like 50 years, right? So I was laughing, teasing Leanne, like 50 years, you still trying to help brother Brickwood over here keep his act together. So that's kind of an inside joke. But anyway, no, Brickwood got his own act together. So anyway, half of our chamber is really like 1-person or 2-person businesses. They're like these part-time guys who just trying to figure out how to make one plate lunch out of smoked meat and poi mochi, you know, those kind of guys, right? And then, so I go out and I approach these guys in these pop-up makekes, right? And that's big over here. You see a pop-up makeke, boom, these guys are all up. They got their 10 by 10, they're grilled, they're whatever. They're fish coolers, they're ready for go, right? But then when you talk to them about, hey, would you like to be a member of the Native Hawaiian Chamber of Commerce? They're like, what's that? And then they're asking, I said, nah, Brad, so this is their response. Nah, Brad, I got to keep this all under the table because, you know, I don't like pay taxes, you know. And so when you tell them, okay, but then do you want this thing to get bigger, or so do you want this to be legit? And they're like, nah, not if I got to pay taxes. So you see the mentality, like you said, okay, guys, if you guys like scale up, you got to get one EIN, and they're like, well, what is that? Okay, so you got to actually register with the state. So there's obviously an educational component that's needed in here, right? So what I'm basically trying to say is that these guys, you know, the whole group of us that are over here, this is the next generation of OEV leadership, right? These are our future leaders. And they need more than just like education programs, right? Because education, while it's a good thing to have that out there, what we really need to empower people is clarity. And I give you an example. So I got this new program on my computer. So I'm doing the tutorials, I'm reading through the manual. 3 hours. I cannot get them. I text my granddaughter. She comes over, and in 15 minutes, she explained the whole thing to me. And she said, Grandpa, you get them? I said, okay, I got them. Enough so that I could operate it and I could function. Okay, that's the difference between education and clarity, right? Once I got the clarity, then I was empowered to go forward, right? So we need not just people that are going to provide, like you guys do a terrific job of supplying educational resources, but we need clarifiers. People go and explain, Uncle, this how the thing work. Same thing like Kawi and I were talking about. Kupuna, man, you got to explain it. Got to break it down. Got to make it easy. You know that, right? Okay, that's thing number one. Thing number two we need is opportunities. Okay, you go on Facebook, you see these guys saying, aloha everyone, I get one food truck, and if you get one event or anything where we can come and we can sign up for be one of the food trucks, we're on. Please contact me at whatever. They need opportunity, right? And so one of the basic tenets of leadership is to provide opportunity, right? And so those of us, of course, with kids and grandkids and even me, great-grandkids, our job is to try to provide opportunity for them. Like, let me give you an opportunity today to go out and get a job. Yeah, let me give you an opportunity today to go out and, like, you know, learn how to discipline yourself to clean stuff up. Opportunity is important, right? So we need clarity and we need opportunity. And the next thing we need to get our young business entrepreneurs to understand is really about culture. And it's not just, you know, understanding culture, you know, knowing the music, knowing the oli, knowing our traditions, knowing our rituals. But culture, no matter where you grow up, you know, because in our chamber, it's not just Native Hawaiians, right? We get all kind of guys just simply because, right? Simply because, you know, people want to have that information, right? So we talk about culture is embedded in respect, right? And respect means that you value your traditions, you value whatever your values are, all that stuff. So because 100 years from now, the people and policies, they all go away. But 100 years from now, we're still going to have kuleana. We're still going to have ohana, okay? We're still going to have these values that permeate today in our entire world. So that needs to be brought across so that people operate their businesses with this idea that there's cultural things that will help to guide us. So I came to say that, and I appreciate your guys' time today to hear that.
Thank you, Benny.
Chair. Can I? Thank you, Chair. I wanted to just follow up on that. This is basically for the colleagues on the board. Because indeed, what Benny was mentioning was collaboration. What Iopa was mentioning was collaboration. And the success of all in the room is based a lot on your request to the OHA and the collaboration of the board. So just for the information, I'd like to elaborate a little bit on Benny's words were, when in January we got the hui of Native Hawaiian Chambers back together again. We did that when I was in the Senate back in 16, 17, 18 with Richard then. And it was basically to reunify and to put together a coalition for policy making at the legislature. Because you have to have political heft in order to get anything through there and have political skill. So as a unified body, we're getting them together and getting them prepared for the next legislative session on all things business and how it affects Native Hawaiian business. So I just wanted to allow for that to hit the table on the record and for you folks to know what we're doing. And any time we meet once a month virtually, and any of the board members, you're invited to our monthly talk story with John Kaohe who runs the Kauai Native Hawaiian Chamber, with Benny Medina, who runs the Hawaii Island, Kainoa Horkajo, who was a former employee of the Office of Foreign Affairs. He now runs the Maui Chamber. And just as a final thought on that matter, and if did I miss anybody, Benny? No, I think I got everybody in the hui. Just as a final thought, this group has things to offer to each other. As Benny was mentioning, Oahu is not the same as Kauai, who's not the same as Maui, who's not the same as Hawaii Island. But everybody has that central theme of business. When Maui happened, it was extraordinary because all of the leaders reached out to Maui. Benny, John, what can we do for you? So as a result of that, what's happening is Kainoa them now are having an assessment based on a survey that OHA did about how Native Hawaiian businesses were affected by COVID. We're modifying that, so now there's assessment happening on what has happened to the Maui Native Hawaiian businesses because of the fires. Once that information comes out, they're going to return to the board, and we can assess the type of support we're going to deploy, or at least come to the board to ask for support. So I just kind of wanted to let the board know what was happening with the chambers and how it's affecting the Maui thing, and how I really appreciated the aloha that went out between the leadership of the hui. Yeah. So now you know what I know.
Thank you,
Okay.
Trustee.
Mahalo.
We're moving on. The next speaker is Myron Lindsay.
Weather today, Waimea, boy. Vela. You know out here, yeah? When I was a small kid, this is called the Hawaiian Homes Community Pasture. And we rode our horses in here. We raised cattle. I was raised in a village back here, a couple streets down the road. And first of all, aloha. Aloha. I don't come with any requests from OHA. I don't have any studies. What I come to bring, though, is information, little history. And I only can use, I use Waimea specifically. In the past, aloha. Waimea is referred to as Kamuela. But as we all know, Kamuela is not the name. The Kamuela is the post office. Yeah. And Waimea is a true name here, Redwater. But anyway, the reason I use Waimea for the history is because you could say back in 1943, there was in excess of 50 to 60,000 Marine forces here, all in this area. This is a bombing range. Okay, my mother was the postmaster. Eva Lindsay was the postmaster of Waimea back then. And bless her soul. And she witnessed Waimea evolve, change overnight. In 24 hours, you had 60,000+ Marines. And you had 60,000 that left overnight. You wake up, you have 60. 3 years from there, you have 60 that just left overnight. They went via the saddle road to Hilo. Anyway, so the military had a big influence on Waimea, and what gave them that opportunity to be here was that they needed an area to train their troops with the various terrain that you have here, the weather, for the battles that were going to come up in the Mid-Pacific, Midwest, Tarawa, Kwajalein, and so forth. So they needed an area to train prior to going down to the South Pacific. And Parker Ranch, you could say leased out the land at a minimal for 3 years. And then they packed up and left. So in 1953, Waimea got back to its normal Parker Ranch cattle. And in 1953, Hawaiian Homes got established here where we are right now. And there was an influx and a change. It's starting to evolve. Waimea started to evolve. And Hulu's mother would know very well what transpired. When Hawaiian Homes came in, the homestead here, Kuhio Village, it just changed Waimea from a real cowboy country to sort of semi-business subdivision. This was the first big subdivision in Waimea. And things went on as usual, being an agriculture country. And then in 1965, a fellow by the name of Lawrence Rockefeller came and he approached Parker Ranch, Richard Smart, the owner of Parker Ranch, and asked Mr. Smart if he would sell his beach called Kauno'oa. And Mr. Smart agreed to selling the beach, what we now have as Mauna Kea Beach Hotel. That transformed Waimea overnight. Because why? Because it was bringing in a different type of business, a clientele. And here we have now in Waimea the visitor industry or tourist industry. Changed everything overnight. People were employed at Mauna Kea Beach Hotel. And suddenly you see more gates where we used to hunt all out here. We rode horses all out here up to Keomole. And a lot of gates started to have locks on them. Couldn't go in. So what we did, we outlawed. Nighttime we'd go hunting from the truck. Because it had a lot of panini out here, cactus. But that, you see how things evolve in Waimea. But going back, Waimea was always a playground. Waimea was always a playground. From the 40s. I lived down here by Merriman's, the back of Merriman's. And there's a hill called Hoku'ula. Just above Auntie Hulu's grandfather's house by Halekea. Hoku'ula. It's a big battle up there. Kamehameha. Anyway, Hoku'ula had a lot of these homes sparsely located by bankers, governors of the state of Hawaii. Well, before the governors, before the statehood, during the territory times. They came up here, built their homes, their vacation homes. And they came up here during the vacation because they needed their mail, so they went to see my mother. And everything came through general delivery back then. But what I'm getting at is that Waimea, as we see now, is so beautiful. Look at the mountains. Weather is getting drier. But unfortunately, the land that we are so accustomed to, is starting to go to the highest bidder. Okay? And that's becoming a big problem amongst us. The Lindsays, the Purdy's, Stephen Spencer's, local families here. Is becoming a big problem. Because why? They're coming up to you and offering exuberant cash out sales. I just got done with a home. Custom home, yeah. I only build custom homes now, but a fella came up to me Hey, Lindsay, how much you want for that home? Oh, it's not for sale. It's not for sale. Why, $1 million? I'm not even finished yet. It's a 1,300 square foot home. And my roof line is like the simplest roof line. I call them a doghouse. You see that gable roof there? That's the simplest roof you can get. But they call my house a chic. I don't know what kind of terms they come on, you know, a chic home or whatever. It's all black. My wife went to Oregon State, so Debbie Lindsay. She's principal at Kauai High with Dan. But that's the nature of Waimea now as we speak, because San Francisco is moving in, okay, and they're buying every single property that they can find above market rate. So I'm asking at this time if it would be possible for OHA to do a comprehensive study on, and we use the term affordable housing. There's no affordable housing. I've been a builder for 50 years. I've heard that affordable housing, they didn't use the term affordable housing, but those days it was farmer's home loan, and they called it affordable housing, okay? It's an overused term, but nothing has been substantially seen or proved to be able to have my grandkids, who went to the school, by the way, of staying here in the islands and being employed with a six-figure now, okay, six-figure income or combined income to remain here. Kind of like to ask OHA if they could do some comprehensive studies of what contributes to this exuberant cost of housing. There's a subdivision up back east going towards Honoka'a we call Lake Land. Okay. Lake Land is what we call the wet area of Waimea. Back then in the early 70s when Lakeland was developed, no, it was developed in the 60s, excuse me. You had farmer's home loan that you could buy in, a lot and home, a package home, Hicks home, for 44,000. Well, the other day I called a realtor, a friend of mine, and she said, Myron, you realize up there is they're asking and getting close to 800,000+. Okay. Well, yeah, it's remodel, you upgrade. It's no big thing. But it's going for 800,000+ in the Lakeland area. Ooh. So that puts a whole percentage of our population here locally that won't be able to afford, even in Lakeland, the furthest out. When I look at this La Hui out here, and I look and look and look, and you better get a good look at them now, because I hate to use the term immigrants, but they might be immigrating out of state back to the mainland or somewhere in the mainland, okay? Probably Nevada, Las Vegas. And so I don't want to say that we're raising immigrants. It's a little derogatory right there. But they may become immigrants to another state. Not good. So, how do we keep our kids here? Education. I think, I know for surety that education plays a role in their lives, in a career. But what I'm trying to get at is the basis. I couldn't put this building in the air, suspended in the air. I needed to put this on ground. We call this ground, buying the ground. You need the ground. And Hawaii is becoming a perfect commodity, being utilized. Unfortunately, you know, economics 101 is supply and demand. we have a great demand for the islands of Hawaii, including, I built on Kauai in Poipu, Maui, in Kihei. And Hawaii is, I gotta say it, has a great demand for its land. The Heavenly Father only built one Hawaii. And the good part about that is that it was separated. And that's what people want. They want isolation. Okay? So, if we can have a comprehensive studies of areas around the state geographically showing what costs are in an affordable home. And I'm just throwing that out to see what actually are the costs. You know, the slab costs so much, the material, windows, blah, these high-class windows right here, you know. Land. What's the land cost? What's the square footage cost of not a custom home, but typical affordable home? Back then, they called it Hicks home. But you guys realize now that a Hicks home is worth, people cannot afford that because they don't build homes with redwood sidings anymore. 1x8, thin groove, narrow groove.
Myron, can you wind down your
Okay.
conversation?
I'm going. So my request from OHA is to look into what the costs are on home construction geographically. Obviously more in Oahu and Kahala than in Pauilo. Maybe.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Thank you. Some cars need to be moved from the parking lot. There's a white Ford truck, HBW 335, and a gray Dodge van, ZFX 245. They are parked in the visitor stalls. So if you could please move those vehicles. We're just on our last person. I'd like to call on Tammy Harp.
I wasn't planning on crying, but I'll stick to this first, and then I'll talk about Lahaina after. I just passed out the a letter that I had written to the DHHL commissioners. The DHHL commissioners back in March of 2023. And it was about the appoint a permitted interaction group to study, evaluate, and recommend geothermal strategies. Should I read it for everybody, or Chair Millie? Okay, bear with me, please. Excuse me. Aloha, Commissioners. My name is Tammy Harp, and I am concerned with today's 21 March 2023 agenda item 4AC8, information only, to appoint a permitted interaction group, PIG, to study, evaluate, and recommend geothermal strategies. My concern is the running of the undersea electric energy cable through the Au channel by way of Ahihi to Molokai, and then on to its targeted user groups of Oahu. As the picture from Ililani Media depicts, it might be a convenience for the planners of geothermal energy to go through the Au channel, but the reality is this endeavor serves no purpose for the Au channel. In fact, it could be detrimental. We've seen the marine resource mismanagement of the Au, which actually I was supposed to have said channel, of the channel, continues 60 plus years. That's 6 decades worth. This PIG would need to look for alternate routes without impacting an already impacted community. And then I just said, mahalo for your time and consideration, and sincerely, my name, Tammy Hart. But yeah, I don't like it like this. And I'm sure my cousin guys are gonna not like it like that, and my dad guys, because our channel had suffered enough like us in Lahaina. Yeah? And so I'd like, I won't stress on this one. And as for funding, like Chair said last night, you folks don't know who you're going to be funding yet. I'd like to ask that you folks fund OHA, fund Kikai Keahi with the reforestation project that they're doing. He has already like 50 kukui nut trees that's going to go above the impact area. I mean, it'll be outside of the fire zone. But what I would like OHA to do is look at how ways of watering, just like how Kaho'olawe, you know, they got water bladders that you can put in the ground, and then you put the trees, and then you come every now and then water the top so that stay moist while the bottom's still, you know, trying to grow, but or other ways. And then I'll submit a name from Dofa Maui that I would like to be helped, because he's a descendant like myself of Lahaina. And then, well, I understand Hawaiian Home's coming, the commissioner's coming on Monday to Hilo, so I'll address some other stuff concerning the pig, the PIG, yeah? I know it sounds so awkward, yeah? Pua make a pig. What is the other term? Living high off the hog, yeah, you know, so. But anyway, and I just wanted to say to my family, my peers, my friends, my colleagues in Lahaina that I'm sorry I'm not there for you guys, but I've been in my, they've been in my thoughts, you know, always from the time I left Lahaina back in December 2004. I never lost scope. And like Papa Kihei said to us in 2005, he said, Osoli, Niheu. We call him, he told me I can call him Papa Kihei. And like he said, Malama yo ahupua'a. So months later, I saw him, and we was talking story again. We always saw him, my husband, kako'o him, yeah. And I told him, you know, Papa Kihei, you said about the Malama yo ahupua'a, yeah. He goes, yeah. And I go, you know, I'm malahini to moko kiave. And he's looking at me, you know, and I go, because I actually Lahaina. And my ahupua'a is the Lahaina district, including the Au channel. Like Momi last night, you know, from Laupahoehoe, she mentioned mother, you know. The Au channel is my mother. I was born from a human mother, and then the channel came and swept me right off the beach in a freak, just a freak thing when it happened on Kika'a side of, the opposite side of Black Rock Pu'u Kika'a. And my dad had to come out and save me, so with the force of him pushing me out of the water, might have compressed me to, when I came out, I started crying uncontrollably. I could see all the water coming off of me. I could see my dad's curly head over here, and I'm up in the air looking down, all the water coming off, and everything is so bright blue, like crisp morning, and then I was crying, and in my brain, I was telling myself, how come I'm crying? How come I cannot stop crying? You know, and that always, that action had always stayed with me until my mom explained to me that the wave came and took me out. And that was when I was 3, so. Yeah, so one of our good friends just told me, he says, Tammy, you died. You reborn. And I went, yeah, I came out of the water with my dad and like that. So I went hanau out of the OHA channel, you know, so besides that, I mean, it takes a lot of Ho'ailona to make a big kauna to me, so there's more to this story, but I just wanted to share that, you know, I miss them, all of them. I never sleep, you know, when the fire occurred, I couldn't sleep because if they're sleeping, I want to watch over what's happening there. Yeah, I couldn't sleep. But out of everything, we found out just like maybe a couple days after that, my uncle was one of the first ones that we found out that had passed. He was right down at the bottom of Lahaina Luna Road, down there by over the seawall. He was sitting there. He's the one that said he made the shaka and smile, Freeman Tamlong. So, and I couldn't cry at the time is because I still can't. I mean, this one is because I'm so excited and nervous and to approach the Waimea community that I've been a part of, but not a part of, you know, because, you know, it's just, but anyway, it's another story. But I'm sorry to get tangled up in, I do that quite often, but yeah, you know, we just lost him, and out of all the ohana, we lost him. We recently we lost some, but it was true, natural, age-related, you know, things like that, or soa, you know, awi, you know, but in the fire, you know, we was thankful he didn't get burned. We was thankful that the smoke took him, you know. So if he got burned, it would be after, but the main thing was the smoke, and so that made us feel good. And like Cousin Kikai, he said, you know, he cannot cry, yeah, because it's not Pao. It never be Pao, because some of those people won't be found, because it could be people from the continent or around the world that didn't know that their ohana was there at the time, yeah. So maybe future ancestry.com things, or you know, they'll meet up, but the main ones, yes, I've lost people we know, my mom guys' generation, I mean, you know, neighbors, old neighbors and stuff. So other than that, I think if OHA can fund water bladders or some kind of a water thing to help the reforestation so that by the time if any wet weather coming, it'll already be set and not be washed away or anything else. But I think there was other stuff, but you know, after you cry, you can everything wash away. Yeah, so so you got off lucky. No.
Thank you, Tammy.
But anyway, thank you.
Mahalo.
Thank you, Tammy. I had just wanted to let you know two things. One is that when I was contacted about the cable from Big Island to Maui and then Oahu for geothermal, I was told that that was the old plan and that is currently being reassessed because the Hawaiian homelands on Maui were tested and they have determined that there is geothermal there. That means that there's no need for a cable from the Big Island to Maui. I told them, give me the report in writing, but I never get them yet.
Yeah.
I know that what they did was they came out in the last few weeks in our papers showing us the places where they did find geothermal was in the paper, and one of them was Kahikinui, which is Hawaiian Homeland's Mauka on Maui.
Right.
But I still don't have it in writing from the State Department of Energy, and you know with the state, you got to get it in writing. Also, I just wanted to ask you if you could follow up with me, the people you're working with DOFA on Maui.
Oh, that's only one person, because he's a descendant of Lahaina and he ohana to us. So I just want him to be there to give them, guidance. Because he works for the forestry for many years, maybe like 30 years already. So he has plenty of expertise. So, but I didn't want to tell his name aloud.
Okay.
Yeah,
we have 4 trustees on a special Maui support group. I'm not one of them, but if you could send to the chair, she can send that, because the chair, also Souza is one of them. Dan is one. and Calais. But we have a group, so
Yeah,
send it over.
yeah. Well, when you folks get to talk to Kekai, I like that Dofa. I know you're not supposed to have Ohana kind of stuff, but you know, I mean, what are we doing? We're working for the kingdom, or are we working for the state? Are we working for the feds? So, you know, or in the county. So, you know, that kind of stuff.
Okay, you know the answer to that is
I did it.
people.
Thank you.
Otherwise, not important.
Mahalo, Tammy.
Okay, mahalo. Oh, just one thing about that line she was talking about the sandwich house. The kupuna, I remember way back, the kupuna told us about that, about the lines. And one thing they said was, "Jew Torma gonna come over through that lines," and we looked at them and go, "Nah." But then, like Millie just pointed out, that was the old plan, so it did look like that. Okay, mahalo.
Mahalo nui to everyone that came out this morning for our community meeting. We want to mahalo our presenters from last night to today, and all of our site visits that we had yesterday was so wonderful, and we certainly enjoyed it. We want to mahalo Kanu o Ka'aina for opening your hale and hosting all of us for our meetings. Mahalo. Yes, we are so thankful to have been here and having the opportunity to see our kids, to have protocol early in the morning with them. So heartwarming. We know that this school is doing the right thing. So mahalo, mahalo. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Trustee Ahuna is excused. Trustee Akaka. Trustee Akina is excused. Trustee Alapa. Trustee Galuteria. Trustee Souza is excused. Trustee Trask. Trustee Waihee is excused. Chair Hulu Lindsay.
Aye.
We have 5 yes, we are adjourned.
Mahalo. Have a great day, folks.